All right, another video book review. This time for David Baldacci's Camel Club, The Camel Club. I was given this and recommended this by a family member because they love those kinds of books, and I had just finished a David Baldacci book because I got it for free, The 620 Man, and I really enjoyed it actually. Thought it was really well done. So I went ahead and started one of the more popular series. At least that's what they say. That's what they told me from Baldacci. Now it's a like a thriller, action, super spy kind of book. There's a million authors kind of like that, but Baldacci is a pretty high level one of those, high selling at least. Brad Thor's another one, those kind of books. Now, I read it. It's the first of five books, I believe, highly acclaimed from what I see, and I was underwhelmed by it. I really was, and I think that has to do with the characters and how they speak. The most of the time, like small talk between people or just any kind of talk, a lot of times didn't it felt stilted. It really did feel stilted, and the 620 Man didn't feel like that at all. It felt very natural, very flowing. Everyone felt real and felt alive, and like they spoke like real people. This was not the case here, and the 620 Man is more recent, so I guess the author Baldacci has gotten better. But this one was, at least a lot of times I was thinking, wow, what's going on here? And it was very preachy, super preachy. It was like half the time I was like, all right, I'm getting a detailed Baldacci report on why the Middle East is more complicated than U.S. foreign policy treats it, which is true, obviously. But like, I don't need to hear that a million times. And hearing it a million times, it drives that nail in my head. Like, got it, got it, got it. Baldacci thinks this way. Cool. Which I don't ever like knowing. Right? No one likes knowing what an author believes, even if you agree with it. Right? Especially if it's like told by so many different characters. And there were so many times when you know it would be that horrible thing where there would be a whole paragraph of dialogue of someone waxing poetic about the struggle of the terrorist, right? Whatever, right? Then the response would be like a one sentence kind of straw man, or even like a and then say more, and then another big paragraph, then another short response, then another massive paragraph, until you're like, oh my god, I'm so exhausted by this. If I wanted to read I don't know, a report or an opinion piece from the New York Times or anything, I'm not like pointing out the New York Times, just a big publication source, right? Just any kind of opinion piece, I don't want to read it in the book. Any book, really, right? It's what I hate reading all political books of any kind. Left, right, or center. Like, I don't usually like reading to figure out someone's political policies. And that's kind of what it felt like in this book, just foreign policy 101. And I just wasn't into it. And it didn't help that the rest of the dialogue didn't feel alive. It didn't feel real. And that hurt. That hurt the book a lot. Now, I will say that in the last, and it was a slow burn for me, especially in the beginning, where you're building up and you have all these disparate pieces. He did this in 620 Man too, but this one was a lot more disparate pieces, and it took a while for them to coalesce and come together. And that didn't happen until like 70% in the book. By then it sped right through, and the last like 30% are excellent, like absolutely excellent for like pacing and for tension and for mile a minute action. And it was solid. You saw everything. Everything was pretty understandable, and you could see where things were coming. It was very like, it wasn't a mystery how things were going to go down. But it did. It definitely felt like the end of a really solid like Jack Ryan book or movie, let's say, where everything was coming together. It was great. But that was the last 30%. And then like there were decisions though, and the excellent last 30% was cut a few times by a really major, like a couple major decisions that I was just like, no, that doesn't seem realistic at all. So it really cut that, and it made me think, okay, we've jumped the shark a bit, or hey, I can't follow this train of thought where, you know, in the first paragraph on this page, a major thing was going to happen. Now, like everyone's in jeopardy, and then like two paragraphs later, everything's changed. Now we're hunky dory. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. The main character, Oliver Stone, which that's a play, right, on the actual director, and it's a play on that. It's whatever, right? But he was a he was a fully fleshed out character. Then you have three other members of the Camel Club. One's a big dude, ex-army DIA, Ruben. He's Randy, I think. He likes to flirt with the women, which only happens like once or twice. Works at the dock. I can't really say anything more about him. He's not much of a character. Then you have Milton, OCD dude, very OCD, has a lady crush. Can't say much more about him. And then another guy starts with like a C or a CH or something. He was the least character of all the characters, and I couldn't tell you anything about him other than he had a courageous moment during the midpoint of the book. That's about it. So like the Camel Club is four older people who have all eclectic backgrounds, all coming together to try and dish out some, you know, lies told by the government, or at least uncover things to tell the truth, to uncover the truth. And it didn't feel like a solid team. I just felt like one solid character and the rest were iffy at best. You had a Secret Service agent, Alex Ford. He was a good character. You had the bartender lawyer, oh, excuse me, bartender lawyer combo. Forget who it is. Forget her name. Jackie? No, that's a different character. Anyways, the characters are kind of paper thin in a lot of cases, except for like three or four. Carter Gray is also an actual character, head of the NIC, and you have the president. It's the characters were passable to mostly paper thin through all of it. A lot of them acted not like you would logically think they would act in critical moments, especially towards the end there. Yeah, it didn't work. This book didn't work too well for me. I can read a throwaway story where things can kind of not make sense, but we roll right through it. I can do that. But if I'm being preached to along the way the entire time, like it really suffers. Like my enjoyment suffers like crazy. So I don't know. With the preachiness, it was fast paced though, especially towards the end, and I really liked how everything came together. I'm gonna give it a 6. The Camel Club is a 6. 6 out of 10. David Baldacci, 6 out of 10. 620 Man is a much better book. It's a approaching great book for this genre, the 620 Man. But this Camel Club, written a lot earlier by the same author, definitely not even as close. So 6 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this like thriller action genre. Yeah. All right. On to the next book.